to the PO3 Podcast, featuring Jonathan Tovar, a.k.a. the Brownsville Yeti, and Marcus Marx, the Sonic King. The PO3 Podcast.
I'm just gonna rickroll you guys every time.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
Never gonna run around.
Never gonna give. Oh, Bogdan. Fuck you and your eyebrows. It's just this goddamn war and that lying son of a bitch Johnson. I was watching that this morning too, and I like how Forrest thought that was a party. The Black Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, sorry, I had a fight in the middle of the Black Panther party. It's like, he thought it was a party.
Well, I mean, they were called the Black Panther Party, so.
He's not wrong.
They just weren't having a party.
But that's why it was funny, because he thinks he's actually having a party.
See what happens when you rage, bro?
Hey, what's up, Smoke?
Wait, are we
I had him help
live?
me with the sound check.
Uh-huh.
I was like, just give me something. He's like, aye.
He's all, that's perfect. That's all I need.
Aye.
Just to know it was recording. Welcome back to the PO3 Podcast. My name is Marcus Marx. I'm sitting here today with Jonathan, a.k.a. Tovar.
I mean, I guess I do go by that too, so.
Welcome
The
back.
Brownsville Yeti, the mall. What else? What are the names we have? The Michigan one?
So
Or Mississippi what?
I think I got it memorized, so I can cue the epic music right here, and I can recite it.
Okay, go.
Let me give myself the intro first. Welcome back to the PO3 Podcast. My name is Marcus Marx, a.k.a. the Sonic King, a.k.a. Spilvin Steesberg. Spilvin. a.k.a. Kevin Sting.
We need this motherfucker here always, bro.
Yes. Yeah, please.
And the screen shakes. Okay, Yellow Claw.
That's the one thing I didn't like about the podcast you had me listen to. Too many fucking every 5 minutes is a
Oh, yeah.
and it's way too loud for the audio.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's all, hold up.
bro, the one dude's really articulate. He could tell a story. He gets right to the point.
Which
and
one?
He has a lot to say.
The guy,
I don't know, the taller one that looks like.
he's like from Saudi Arabia.
And then the black dude,
yeah.
motherfucker, cannot tell a story.
He's like, and then
Bro, I was
You
like,
know,
how did you get on the show? Like, you have to be his best friend or some shit.
I get like, I've been with lots of girls. That's how he talks, bro.
I was like, ugh. Yeah, I can't stand that motherfucker, bro. But anyway, I'm seated here today with Jonathan Tovar, a.k.a. the Michigan Mauler. A.k.a. he's give me the, I want the.
I got you. Hold up.
A.k.a. the Michigan Mauler. A.k.a. the Milwaukee Mangler. A.k.a. the San Andreas Strangler. A.k.a. the Massachusetts Master Shooter, Portland, Oregon Mighty Morphin Organ Chewer, Teppanyaki Tonsil Hockey, Amarillo Armadillo, Thousand Oaks Slit Your Throat, Cannonball the Sunker Boat, the Tallahassee Trigger Happy Mississippi Mad Assassin, the Count of Monte Cristo, the man who murdered disco, the one, the only, the Brownsville Yeti, y'all. I got it in one take.
I'm surprised that you fucking got that.
I'm impressed.
Oh my god. No wonder you memorized it. You gotta zoom in right here.
Put it up to the camera.
No.
Go ahead and add it up. Every word's accounted for.
Those are better than money.
Those are IOUs.
Those are IOUs. Idiot.
My girl's like, what the fuck is this? I go, that's John's
Massachusetts
name.
Master Shooter. Portland, Oregon. Mighty Morphin Organ Chewer. Teppanyaki Tonsil Hockey. The Amarillo Armadillo.
Thousand Oaks Slit Your Throat.
Yeah. You
30
cut me
Caymans in a moat. I added that one.
off. Gotcha. That's a lot.
Whoops.
Brownsville Yeti.
Good thing it wasn't porno.
Now for sure on this one, I'm gonna have your whole name rolling in the credits at the end.
You have to.
So yeah, but yeah, that dude. Okay, so I listened to the one with the dude you told me to listen to, with that guy with the ponytail,
Rollo?
the guy that gets to know girls but says he knows everything about them, the guy with the ponytail, and then the only thing I took from it was the black guy did not know how to tell a story. and then too many sound effects, bro.
They had a lot of those little. He had like that
was like-
Streamlabs little audio cue thing.
I was like, okay, fucking every 5 seconds, it's like you don't need to do it every 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like smoke.
Oh shit! Hold up. I'm terrible. This is my first day, by the way. Shit, and I put the volume
he's
down.
still learning.
It's my FNG.
Fucking new guy.
Yeah, I mean, but and then okay, so like I want to say I switched the episode.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a minute real quick to recognize.
Fresh and Fit podcast.
No, fuck no. I was gonna say that. I mean,
Oh, what we're
look
talking
him up
about?
if you want to know what we're talking about in particular. But no smoke.
Oh yeah, okay. So
This also now highlights we have to have an equipment upgrade because we need to capture this guy's antics.
bro,
on
I would
camera, dude.
Smoke. I would love to have you as a permanent third. It would be fucking amazing, bro. And you don't even have to like contribute. Just sit there.
Just be yourself.
I will personally bring you McDonald's and whiskey and wax for every episode.
You had me at one.
You had me at hello. Okay,
So
so
like we never usually introduce like if anybody like we didn't introduce Bernal the Hot. It's just like we like to have a guy in the background, just fucking.
you said
just so
the,
you-
you
just so
said
you
the
can
guy
hear
from
him.
Half Baked on the couch.
Yeah, exactly. The guy on the couch.
Oh, yeah, fucking.
Hey, Smoke, let me get a cheers. Cheers, homie.
Like L'chaim.
Thanks for having me over, guys.
There's a microphone in the cake. He's all. They moved it.
All right, so 5 minutes in, you said you switched it.
Okay, so first of all, excuse me, we're talking about the Fresh and Fit podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jonathan Tovar gave me some homework. The Brownsville Yeti gave me some homework, and today's topic is going to be about what? What is like women,
Relationships. I guess.
relationships, and So I checked it out, and then the second episode I switched from the one you told me to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first, I want to say 10 minutes, I was like, oh shit, this is a controversial topic right here. So I wrote it down. And you know how they get people that call in and ask questions and stuff? So one of the first questions they got when somebody called in, and I just thought it was hilarious that they would give this response, was so someone called in and they say they started dating this woman. It's his wife now. And at the time she weighed 130 pounds. At the end, or like maybe a couple years into the marriage, she got up to 170. And he asked, how can I motivate her to, start losing weight and this and that without actually having to tell her to lose weight because he didn't want to hurt her feelings. And then one of the dudes, like the main guy, like the I forget, I don't even know his name. But
Yeah, I forget the skinnier dude, right?
yeah, like without a heartbeat, he hesitates. He's all,
Tell her she's fat. Some shit, right?
no, he's just like, just start dating other girls. It'll motivate her. I was like,
Yeah, see, this,
damn, bro. Like, what the fuck?
That's where I said where they lose me in their podcast. It's I agree with a lot what they have to say, but when they start getting into that type of dynamic, they lose me.
Yeah, he
You know?
was
And
like,
of
yeah,
course,
just-
if you go to the comments, be like, oh, blue pill, blue pill, blue pill.
okay, yeah. So that was another thing I pulled, the blue pill, red pill thing, which is like woke and unwoke, I'm assuming.
So the guy with the ponytail, Rolo, right? So
Yeah.
in his book called, I didn't bring it today. I was supposed to. It's called, he basically stole the analogy from The Matrix.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So the red
100%.
pill being like, this is all the stuff that you need to know if you're a dude in the dating market. That will essentially like help you navigate the waters of dating, the
Yeah.
dating scene, right? And then, but once you see it, like it's going to show you a whole different side of the way the relationship dynamic between men and women actually works versus what
Yeah.
you're taught. And then the blue pill being, okay, you take the blue pill and everything's just going to remain the same.
Mhm.
You're going to be a beta. They refer to alpha and beta a lot in the book.
I took it as the blue pill is kind of like, I feel like it's applicable. I feel like it's
Or if
applicable
you're
to like,
smoking, the blue pill's Viagra.
this podcast is sponsored by Blue Chew. I feel like the blue pill analogy was, I thought they were gearing it towards and having it be applicable to like simps and stuff like that.
I mean, this book that was written like 15 years ago or something like that. So it was
Yeah.
before the term simp was ever coined.
which I just found out what it was because you explained it to me the other day.
So So I would say now the majority of the people would apply it to being a simp
Mm-hmm.
in that regard. So
Yeah, but then the other side of that token is the blue pill, or the red pill is extracting like the and navigating your way through the dating scene and
Yeah,
like the dating
basically.
game
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
how it works and why you're not accomplished with women and why you stand where you stand in the game. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, man, and it's nothing I want to be a part of because it sounds like just one big giant headache. Like the way that the game is played between men and women, it's like, dude, why are we playing this fucking unnecessary game? Like, why does it have to be this way? That's what I took from the podcast, or that was my opinion of the podcast. That's after I was done listening to it. I was like, I feel like it's unnecessary because at the end of the day, we all just want someone to love. We want someone to love us back. Yes. Hold on, let me say it again.
Anyway, go on.
At the end of the day, aside all the fuckery and all these games, all men and women want on each side is for one to love them and the other to love them back, and that's it.
So yeah,
What was that?
Fucking whip, Tommy.
You know what I mean though? Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all want the same thing at the end of the day. It's mutual, and there's no distortion there. Like we know what it is. There's really no gray areas other
Well,
than
yeah,
if
I
you
would
just
say-
want to fuck around.
yeah, I would agree. However, Rolo's approach to it was basically I lost my train of thought when the whole bum thing came on the whip. So I'm trying to remember what you just said. Damn it.
Well, no, because I was saying at the end of the day, we all just want the same thing, other than playing this game. Like basically playing that type of game.
Okay, I
is,
remember
is
now.
irrelevant. It's pointless.
So I read the book, and
well, you're
one thing
good.
that he mentioned in the book was like, so for you, for instance, right? Well, maybe not for you, but he mentioned there's like there's guys that figure this kind of stuff out
Mhm.
on their own. You know, that just they understand the game, they know how to play the game, and they're the ones that are typically successful in the game.
Yeah.
Then there's guys that don't understand the game, and they're, like you mentioned, they're not as successful in the dating scene. And so his whole approach with this book was like, I guess there was a website, I think it was called the Manosphere. This is like early 2000s, where a bunch of guys would get on and just basically like, yo, this works, this doesn't, right?
Okay.
Like it's not like pickup lines. It's just like
It's like a forum for dating.
basically, but for dudes exclusively.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I mean, I'm sure women would, if they knew the site, they can go to it too. But yeah, so it was basically like a world where you can get tips. Because the way I attributed the book when I read it was, you ever have like that older brother or older cousin
Mhm.
that would kind of give you like, hey man, when you're talking to a chick, like give them distance and play, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's
Not really. My cousin said, just if you want, you could fuck my girlfriend too.
Okay.
So no,
Okay.
kind of.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. You know,
But
but
I was like 12.
but
What the fuck, dude?
but you know, I know I've had it with older cousins
Yeah.
that would tell you kind of like, hey man, this is what you want to do, or even just guys of your own age, you know. And so basically, that's what that book was kind of like homie tips.
Yeah.
And the reason I like the book is because he wrote really well, but he would also talk to you like one of your buddies talking to you.
So okay, so sorry to cut. I just need to ask this question. Who's the author of this book? Is it any of those guys on the
Rolo.
guy? The guy with
Ponytail. Rolo
Sorry.
Tomasi. Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's just a good book, man, because he basically, I think if I remember correctly, he started college late. So he was a few years older than the majority of the people in his class, and he started noticing all the men and women in his class like conversing and seeing how they're, you know, talking with each other and
Interacting.
all that kind of. And he got interested in that, and so if I remember correctly, again, I think he tailored his school to like the relationship dynamic between men and women.
It is a crazy social experiment to actually watch if you see it in person. Like I've always said, the nightclub is just Tinder in person.
Fuck, I'm slacking today on my first
You know what I
day.
mean? Like I feel like just if you just sat back like this guy did in a corner and just watch how everything goes down, like you can read people's body language. Just based off the body language, they're saying a lot, male and female.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the fact that he wrote a book on that is kind of crazy. I didn't know he had a book.
Yeah, he actually has a series of books. I only came across the one, and watching the Fresh and Fit podcast, that's when I learned that he wrote a few more after that book. But I think it's just a good book to learn, man, just because like if you're in the dating, or not learn to read, because if you're in the dating scene, you know, it'll open your eyes to certain things, you know. And again, some of the stuff you take from it, you may agree with, you may not agree with, but
Yeah, it would alleviate some of the headache that comes with, especially if you're younger, that comes with dating. I mean, it's important to understand that you don't need to overthink it in a lot of cases, but in certain cases where you may find yourself in a specific scenario, that type of book can be very applicable, and it may alleviate some of the headache that comes with like, damn, dude, like I thought I was doing everything right. How come she didn't call me back?
yeah, essentially,
Or did I spend too much money on this first date? Which was another cool topic that I thought they covered was what should I do for a first date? And 100% they lean towards nothing expensive because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. And that doesn't mean that she's not worth it. It's just you're really trying to build a social relationship here and find out who this person is. And it's impossible to provoke any type of conversation in a place like a movie theater where you're supposed to be quiet. It's actually the antithesis of what you're supposed to be doing. It's like you're supposed to create a dialogue and getting to know this person, and you can't do that if you're in a place that's too loud where you can't hear each other, or if you're in a movie theater where you have to be quiet. It's like just have something casual, like a face-to-face, like what we're doing now. Just go sit at a bar and make it casual and something like that. And a lot of dudes, they'll overshoot it. And they'll want to do too much. They'll do the flowers. They'll do the limousine. They'll do everything, and like the whole nine, And at the end of the day, sometimes, depending on the scenario, it'll scare them off, and they don't understand why.
One thing I would like to preface this entire conversation with is whether it's something I say or when I'm referencing their podcast or something they say. They say women. It's an aggregate. It's the typical way that women would think. It's not. Every single woman believes or behaves in this particular manner.
Yeah, I heard him throw that word around.
They're speaking in generalities here. You know what I'm saying? So,
definitely. This does not mean every single woman or man is this way.
Exactly.
We're just saying the average. You know what I mean? This is the average scenario that you find out there.
One thing that I found interesting, because I always like looking through the comments. In the comments you see
gold mine.
Well, dude, because you get to see, because they do their stuff live, right? So you get to see people's real-time responses, in what they're saying. And they had this dude, I forgot his name. I think his first name was Mark.
Wow.
Right.
Mark backwards?
Yeah. And he was this yoked ass, like bodybuilder, IFBB pro guy. And when those guys would say something, like, again, he was in his 40s, and so he has, more life experience than these guys. I don't know how old these guys are. They're probably in the early 30s, but that's still 11 years of life experience as an adult.
That's a lot of time.
And he said stuff to me that I agree with, but all the freaking people in the comments, are not all, but if I saw a handful of comments that were like, he's a blue pill alpha, which is basically the antithesis of what the blue pill is supposed to mean. If you're a blue pill guy, then that
you're
means
not
you're
an
beta.
alpha.
Yeah. Because you can tell he was saying stuff that they didn't necessarily agree with. However, it made sense to them, so they had to.
So they found a gray area.
Well, yeah. So it was almost like, okay, well, I want to throw shade because, this isn't what we're supposed to be saying, but I agree with what he's saying. That's how I took their comments.
Yeah.
Because it was something like.
But that just goes to show you, it's never one or the other. There's always going to be something that's unaccounted for.
And I like this approach. Like, one of the things he was talking about was like how, one thing that's typically said is, and even Jordan Peterson, I believe, has mentioned this as well, that women are born more or less knowing what they have to do. It's more of a biological thing, like kids, being a caring, because it's like innate in their person to raise a child. You have to. Men typically don't have the mental.
It's embedded in their DNA to naturally want to care for an individual.
Thank you. You said it great. Whereas men, we have to go out there and basically find our value.
We got to learn that shit.
Yeah. So
that's why we're immature.
And we
have no moral compass that way that they're already born with. It's already instilled. It just comes with the territory.
So what that guy was saying is, like, since women know what they have, or since they already know what they got to do, like, he was referring to sex. He goes, women often treat it as like, I have needs. And it's like, but that should be something that you should hold as value, and not just do that with every guy you come across with, or because you're not particularly active in the dating scene, but there's a dude that you wouldn't actually date long term, but he's feeling some type of need right now, so you're going to go and have sex with him. And he's like, so you're like basically bringing down like the value that you would bring, because sex should be something sacred between two partners that care for each other. It's an experience. He's like, it's a spiritual experience is what it should be, versus just, oh, it's something to do on a Tuesday
hobby.
after,
I'm just trying to fuck.
And I was like, I kind of agree with that. What's up?
Come on, I'm just trying to fuck.
But a lot
You
of,
know?
but it does go that way though in certain cases. Like some girls just want to fuck. It is. And some guys just want, well, all fucking guys mostly just want to fuck.
Well, let me ask you this: does a potential partner's body count matter? Body count referencing the amount of people that they've had sex with.
That was a good question. So I was listening to this particular part at the gym, and a lot of the times girls don't want to disclose that information because the truth hurts in a lot of cases. And guys, if they really knew and understood the body count of the person that they're engaging, sexual activity with and possibly gonna date in the future, that would scare them off.
I would say,
But
I don't think for the body count, if you're just trying to smash, is gonna matter.
Yeah.
If you're trying to date this person long term, it's 100% gonna matter.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that part.
Oh, sorry.
So
I mean, at least I'd say most guys think that way anyway.
Yeah, but they were mentioning that if men knew like realistically what their body count was, because another thing that we can go and segue into after this is options versus men and women.
Mhm.
The truth hurts in a lot of cases. They might be intimidated by something like that, but it really depends on the scenario. Like, yeah, if you're just trying to smash, then it for most guys, I don't think it would matter. But if it's somebody that you're trying to make your wife or something like that, I feel like it would matter. But I don't know. I've never gone down that line of thinking for myself. Like, I just always like the past is the past. You know what I mean? And like, I'm gonna accept you for who you are now and try to be glass half full.
Do you think that's partly because you don't want to know, because it would change your opinion if you did know?
No, I don't. No, I don't. That was never because I was scared of it. I don't think so. No, it was because I feel like you have to accept people for who they are. You know what I'm saying? And like, whatever they did before, that's not who they are now. At least I would like to think that. And evolution is a real thing. I would like to think that people evolve and they can settle down. You know what I mean?
What do you think, Smoke? What's your opinion on that? And the mic's right there.
Yeah, go for it.
That's what I gotta think about it.
You want some more whiskey?
Sure.
That's all you gotta say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think? Hold on. We'll get you to answer right now.
Oh man, it'd be kind of hard to find out.
Well, I mean, like, okay, so because for me, it's just like, I don't want to know, but I don't want to know because I have a feeling that if you were being honest with me, I feel like it could impact the way that I see it. It's like,
so yeah, like what if you put yourself in the scenario where at the beginning you didn't necessarily care, but then you started growing feelings for this person, and then that information surfaced? It's hard to say though what your mind state would be in that moment, because you don't know.
I think if
until
we're being truthful though, I mean, I was like, yeah, it's probably a good chance that it would.
I think so too, but also it does vary pretty rapidly per individual. I think everybody is just different. Like, everybody has different standards, obviously, in their head, but different ways of viewing things. Some people can accept it, and then some people can't.
I would say there's probably far fewer people, guys
can.
that would be able to accept something with like a high number. Now, that number might vary from person to person.
Okay, now we're talking. I want to make this very clear. It does depend on the number. Like, if it's like 200 or some shit, like, okay, can you just stay away? Like, for me, that does say something about you. Even if it's like over 50 or some shit like that, which is not even a modest number, but if we're talking attractive women, it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
But that's a lot of fucking people.
And again, it's like, if you go back to what that guy Mark said about it being something like sacred, but that you would share with someone that you truly cared about. Yeah, to me, it diminishes that that value, because it's like, well, I'm just one of 50 other people.
Yeah.
So how, like, I'm not saying that that person doesn't have like some sort of intrinsic value.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it diminishes that experience, because it's like, I mean, hell, you gotta think, dude, like, when you think just about like the physical activity of sex, like, that's 50 different dudes that have been there.
Yeah, let alone sloppy seconds.
So it's just like
Tasty thirds.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I'm not saying that's like it almost sounds like a double standard. And I'm sure a lot of people would say
I was gonna bring that up because go ahead and finish your point. I'll bring
but
it up.
it's just that's just the world that we live in. That was the way that it was. The moral, not moral, maybe ethical, moral, or societal standards. There's probably a better one. Have it where it's like if you're a dude, well, it doesn't really matter what your body count is, and if you're a woman, it does. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's the world that we currently live in, and that's the world that the majority of us have heard, at least in our culture here in the States. That's just the way that it is.
I'll say I think it's bullshit because it's very hypocritical for a guy to be like, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want to do, and I'm gonna date whoever the hell I want to date. I'm gonna fuck whoever I want to fuck when I want to do it. But the second the girl even looks at another guy, it's fucking World War III, bro, and it's his head. It's like, really? Like, you can't just go and say you're gonna do it. I don't give a fuck what the circumstances are. I feel like it's bullshit. I feel like it's hypocritical, and it's like you can dish it out, but you can't take it. I that's just where I stand. I feel like at the end of the day, at the bottom line and the foundation of the shit, treat people how you want to be treated.
So would you say that if you didn't conduct yourself in that particular manner, would it also not be okay for you, the person that you're seeing, to be that way as well?
That's
because you're again, if you're saying it's hypocritical, well, I can do this, but you can't. So if you're not doing it yourself, and not because, let's say that you can't, like, you're.
Now we're talking sleeping with another person or dating or flirting.
Well, still sleeping. No, I'm not talking about flirting. That's a whole different animal. I'm talking about strictly sex.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's hypocritical for a guy to be like, well, I can have as many partners in my past as, whatever, the higher the better, the more established I am. But you as a woman, you can't do that. But if you're as a man that you choose not to conduct yourself in that manner, is it okay for you to hold your future partners to that same standard?
Now that's for me to decide and whether or not I want to accept her body count in the past versus whether I'm doing
that's why I'm asking you.
Doing it in the current, and I'm getting to that. I think it's different when you're actually like going to engage with them. And I thought you meant like in the moment, like while we're actually dating. Like, is it okay for me to still? Because some people have open relationships, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a lot of what they were talking about. No,
they weren't talking about open relationships. They were talking about.
I know they weren't, but I'm saying I feel like in a lot of the cases that they were mentioning, they were stating that like while they were going like the very infantile stage of dating, it's not yet a relationship, but we're mutually exclusive for the most part, and I feel like that's where it was applicable to, where when they're in that stage and then the embryonic stage of the relationship, is it okay for the woman to go and do what she wants to do? And if she wants to, she can sleep with somebody else. And is it okay for the guy? Now, I'm saying that you shouldn't get mad if you're doing the same thing. If she's doing that to you.
If it's nothing exclusive, then I would say it's all free game.
That's what I was saying. So, but you were asking me something different.
I was asking while dating. Like, let's say this person is someone that you know what? You're the one that I want to see where this goes with.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't conduct yourself in a manner in which you sleep around. Like, you're like, nope, like I just choose not to. And then it comes out that this person has slept around with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because you're saying it was hypocritical for a guy to be doing that and then saying, oh, well, if you have a high body count as a woman, it's wrong because women can't do that, only men can. So if you're a man that chooses not to do that and the woman you're potentially going to date does that or has done that, does that play a factor now because it's no longer hypocritical of you to say that?
I'm even not sure if I like understand the question fully. Like,
well, because what I took from what you said a little while ago was that it was wrong in the basis of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
That you can be doing it and your woman can't or shouldn't have done it in the past. So if you don't do that, if you've never done that, that wasn't how you conduct yourself. Now is it wrong for a woman to have a high body count?
I still think it's hypocritical. Because whether or not you changed your mind on how you decide to date women or view women, like if you did have a high body count and then all of a sudden you change your mind.
No, you don't have a high body count.
Oh, so I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That way it's no longer hypocritical.
Okay, so at that point, then you just have to fucking make up your mind whether or not you want to be with a girl like that or not. Because if you don't want to be with a girl like that, then don't fuck with a girl like that. and you should know. And I mean, it's okay for you to ask the questions. Like, you should be able to ask. And if you find out she's lying later on down the road and you're not okay with her lying about it, then that's on you to decide whether or not you want to move forward with this woman. Because I feel like honesty is a huge fucking factor and a major foundation to any relationship. Like, if you can't even be honest with me in the beginning of the relationship, when we don't really give a fuck about each other that much, what are you going to hide from me in the future when there's actually something to lose here? You know, we're invested emotionally. So at that point, though, in the relationship, I wouldn't even call it a relationship. In that stage of dating, I feel like you should make up your mind at the beginning and like kind of draw your line in the sand. Let her know just what it is from the beginning. You know, that way you know what you're getting yourself into. Because that was another thing that they got into as well. It's like, okay, well, you're not telling her that she can't do anything. You're just saying what you're going to tolerate. And if she does do that, then you're out. It's basically like an ultimatum, but it's your own foundation, or it's your own line in the sand that you draw for yourself. Because at the end of the day, we all have our standards and we all have our line. Your line may be here and my line may be over here. It's different, but you have to establish that in the beginning, I think, to know.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad we got down to the bottom of that because I was kind of confused. Like,
well, yeah, because again, I just took what you said with the 100% that it was just based like what's the hypocrisy in it, where a guy can and a girl can't. It's like, well, if you don't do that, is it wrong for you to hold that same standard?
Yeah, and I feel like it would be out of your place to bestow judgment upon somebody when everybody. Well, I think so. When everybody's entitled to live their life the way that they want to live it, who the hell am I to tell you that?
I'm not. Well, I'm asking if it's wrong of you, not wrong of them.
Is it wrong of me to judge them that way? Yeah, like I don't think so. No, I mean, you can judge them whatever way you want to judge them, and eventually you're probably gonna come across somebody who agrees with you, But you're probably gonna get more misses than hits, because not everybody's on the same page when it comes to that shit.
I don't know. I just feel like most guys would not be happy if they knew that their significant other had a high body count.
Now let me say for me personally, I don't think it really has to be like a decent number. You know what I mean? Like, I understand like that you want to go out and party and do your thing and live your life and you have to. But like I was saying, like if it gets into those crazy triple digit numbers, then I may look at you a little different.
So 99's cool, but 100's not.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm just saying.
I'm trying to understand this.
No, I'm just again, it's just one of those things where it's.
Do you feel like it's arbitrary?
No, I don't think it's arbitrary. No? I think there's a lot of ambiguity in that, but I wouldn't say arbitrary. No, I would say that. I mean, it's gonna a high number for me might be a modest number for you. It's obviously a varying number, but I don't think. Hell, I mean, I wouldn't even judge a woman if she's like, well, damn, how many people have you slept with? I don't want to be with you. Like, you just run around doing what you got to do. Like, I don't blame a woman for.
There's so many factors that come into play though, because like what type of person are we dealing with? Are we dealing with a person who we know is prone to that lifestyle and is going to continue that lifestyle? Or are we dealing with somebody who just man, they got it out of their system and they had a good time and they were young, but they're ready to settle down now? Like what type of it just depends on what type of individual. Go for it.
I got one for you guys. What if it's your favorite porn star and you guys end up meeting up and she's super fucking chill?
That's a good point though. I mean, but then again, you're the type of guy who goes for that kind of girl and you're okay with it.
Will you not care at that point? Like, oh fuck.
I mean, clearly.
All right, okay, so that brings up a whole other thing, right? So let's just say
I just want to fuck.
You run into it's not at a convention or anything like that where you're gonna see her and
yeah.
Let's just say you were out at the mall, right? And you noticed that was your favorite porn star. And somehow you guys start chopping it up and it's actually a pretty cordial type of situation, right? Do you think I know I couldn't date her?
Yeah. I mean, because that's you though.
No, but again, I'm speaking on myself.
Yeah. What
I'm saying though is just like I would, dude, like, yeah, she probably made lots of money. She's she's got her stuff together, but knowing that when I bring her around my family or my friends, that the image of her online is what they're gonna know.
Hey, I've seen your
dad,
video before.
She looks familiar.
Wait, I think I got a VHS of this.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Silver Fox.
it's one of those things where I
Debbie
couldn't
does
do it.
Dallas.
You know what I'm saying? I couldn't do it.
Yeah. But I'm not even but we understand. I'm sure you and I both understand that there are the guys out there who don't care.
But again, so one of the things they talk about in that podcast is those type of guys are the guys that those women don't want, because guys that they typically want or if you watch the podcast from the beginning, and they usually do this in all the ones that I've seen. Maybe I don't know if they did it in the one that you watched, but they usually have a table full of chicks.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen one of those yet.
Okay, so it'll be a table full of chicks, and they'll go around asking them, hey, what's your ideal dude? And they'll be like, oh, like just from start to finish, the way he looks.
I like this part because I know what you're talking about.
They're like, I want a guy with no job but has hella money.
No, yeah, I want the typical 6'4", jacked, hella money, nice car, nice house, independent entrepreneur.
Right.
It's like,
Right. Granted, and so they're like, okay, cool, good for you.
yeah, fine, but
And so, well, it's funny because I like it when they bring the statistics in. But the one thing I don't like about their podcast, they never cite them.
okay.
You know what I'm
so
saying?
they don't got Google, they don't got Jamie.
So, but I'm sure they're in, whether it's skewed, percentile or two, one direction. I'm sure it's pretty ballpark. They're like, okay, so I think a man that's over like 6 foot, 6'1", there's only like 3% of the population is that height. Then once you get above like 6'2", 6'3", it's like 2% or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Very, very low percentage. So just in physical stature, they're already going for.
You're already shooting for the stars.
Right. And then when you factor in, like, because most people throw out a number, like at least 100, 150 a year, 200, 300, whatever the case may be. The higher up that bracket you go, the smaller of men that you want fit that category.
And then those types of guys that you are naming are way out of your league anyway.
So, well, that's the point. They're like, so a man that's of that status can basically have, well, any woman he wants, because all the women want a man like him. So he has his options. They're not going to want a woman that was on camera getting railed by 30 dudes.
Yeah. And then
too, so like,
and then too, the women are complaining about, like, anytime that they complain about a man, the stereotypical, the piece of shit guy, like guys are jerks. It's always those guys that fall in that description.
Typically, yeah, because they have, if it's okay, well, you don't want me, fine, I'll go get another one. There'll be a lot of other good-looking women that are going to want me. You know what I'm saying?
But that's contradictory.
Sure.
Because women, when it comes down to brass tacks, they have a lot more options than any man would.
Well, let me before we get into that round,
Okay.
let me make the point that I was trying to make. So, again, you said there's guys that are going to be okay with a woman that's like that.
Yeah.
But they're telling the women, okay, go be that woman. That's fine. Make your money. Do what you got to do. Be an entrepreneur in that sense. Take care of yourself. But just don't be sad or upset when the man that you describe that you want doesn't want you. And so you'll be left over with the guys that will accept that you're past. That's basically what their point was. Because, I mean, again, maybe I'm on my own little island in this area right now.
No, I think you'd be surprised how many people would
But
agree with you.
I don't. Well, I'm talking about in here.
Okay.
I know I couldn't, because it would be like, damn, dude, like, okay, for instance, I mean, let's say, would you want a homie walking in and looking at your woman in the room while she's changing? I don't think anyone would want that, but yet you're going to date a woman that comes with a past like that, where all her videos and pictures are up on the internet.
Okay.
That's essentially what homies can do.
I see what you're saying.
Like,
yeah.
they're not like, okay, that was maybe a bad example because it's
No,
Tom type shit, but
No, it makes sense though. Like, would you want your woman's privates accessible to the public?
There you go. Like, I wouldn't.
Like, that's supposed to be for you.
Exactly. Or anyone that she's dating, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Not for the world to see at their disposal. So for me to date a woman like that, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel
So,
And just for the record, I couldn't either. I don't want to date no fucking porn star.
you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I just like, it's like, damn, dude, like everyone's going to see. And then when you bring her to parties or you bring her around family functions, everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, that's that chick that, his girl's over here getting railed on screen.
Yeah, too, because that's another thing. It's like a lot of families wouldn't be acceptable of that type of thing. And that would throw another wrench in the spokes.
So one of the things that they often talk about in that podcast is traditional male roles and traditional female roles.
I like that. I really like that one because that shit is definitely different now. Go for it, Smoke.
Well, it's funny because, again, I always feel that they in a sense, they bait the women they bring onto their podcast into this.
Oh yeah. So
because they ask them that question in the very beginning.
Uh-huh.
What's your ideal guy? You know,
Yeah.
I want this, da 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 da. And then they'll come out at some point in the show and be like, well, this is what we wanted to women. We want women to be feminine. We want women to be submissive. Men want to, hey, like if it's not 50-50, we want it to be at least, nothing less than 50-50. But most men want to be like the decision makers. And then they'll ask like male roles. Like, hey, what do you want in your man? No, I want him to be, masculine. I want him to build stuff. I want him to be a protector and a provider. And it's just like, okay, well, this is what we want out of women. We don't want them sleeping around. We don't want them to do this. Oh, well, that's messed up. And he's like, well, how come you guys can have your standards and we can't?
Yeah.
So it sounds like to me you want a traditional man, but you don't want to be a traditional woman.
Yeah. See, I think one of the guys, I forget who mentioned it, but they gave the scenario of like, the playing field gets set very evenly once again, like when some real shit happens, like say someone breaks into the house, the woman goes into her role as a woman, she runs and hides, while the man is just looked at like, well, what are you gonna do, man? Like what are you gonna do? You're gonna protect us, right? And then I think he was mentioning that is the reason why that hierarchy exists.
Well, I think one of the things that we're kind of coming into now, and this is playing like going into like a broader spectrum of topic, but the roles that people play matter. Men and women are different.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I mean, from a biological standpoint, and then when you start talking about like the psychology of a man and women, we differ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think right now everyone's like, no, we're all equal. Like we all have the same rights.
Yeah.
We all have, you know what I'm saying? We should all have the same access to stuff, but I think it's, and I mean, Jordan Peterson talks about this too. It's like, no, men and women are different. And it's a good thing. We're meant to
balance is beautiful, man. You don't want everybody the same.
Like, like a woman's supposed to be what a man isn't and vice versa. Typically men are less agreeable. We don't take a lot of shit.
Less agreeable.
Less understanding most of the time.
And that's why he was saying that, like, if a woman was like, if it was all women, there wouldn't be war because women are more inclined to be more agreeable.
Well, so one thing that Jordan Peterson talks about was when women have disagreements, they character shame each other.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And whereas men, we get along a little bit better because there's typically physical conflict that lies on the horizon. We're like, you tell me some shit, I'm not going to go on Instagram and call you a pussy.
I'm gonna hit you in the head.
I'm gonna get right in your fucking face, and we're gonna have a discussion about it right here, right now. So he says that's one of the reasons. Again, a big difference between men and women is there's always a higher probability that men are going to result in physical conflict versus character shaming of some sort. And so again, that would probably be a big reason why. Again, if there was all women, there wouldn't be any wars because they're gonna sit there and talk trash about each other. Whereas guys like fuck you.
Twitter
look at Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah.
One group's like, no, this is our land, and another dude's like, nope, that's our land. And by the way, I'm gonna send in a hell of troops and tanks and airplanes to go destroy your shit so I can get it back. You know what I'm saying?
That reminds me of I just watched Saving Private Ryan for the first time yesterday.
For the first time?
Yeah, I had never seen it.
That movie came out like 98, bro.
Well, here's the reason. It's a 3 fucking hour movie.
It's a great 3 hour fucking movie.
I watched the whole thing all the way through. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy because I didn't understand the premise of it. It was like, how is this one guy's life worth the fucking soldiers we're going to lose on the way to getting him? You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know why it reminded me of that.
Okay. I don't know either, but
no, it's just like we have this natural drive to just want to fucking fight each other,
Yeah,
regardless of the consequences.
Well, hell, the opening scene to that movie,
yeah,
paints a vivid picture.
That movie was crazy.
I
just don't like the guy with the bullets that like just let his homie get stabbed while he's just laying there on the stairs with the bullets.
Oh, Upham. Yeah. I've seen the movie like a trillion times.
Okay, yeah.
The part was shitty. But on a little tangent, when they aired that movie, when it came out in theaters, a bunch of World War II veterans went to go watch it, and a lot of them walked out during the Omaha scene or the beach scene because a lot of those guys were actually on that Omaha beach, and it was so vivid, it looked so realistic that it brought back memories for them that they couldn't stand, so they actually exited the theater. So they did a really good job in capturing
So they did
the destruction.
It was very accurate.
Yeah, they did a real job in accurately depicting the destruction.
Was there no other way to enter?
So what-
I mean,
so
because
what
I
was
heard
suppo-
some of them got dropped in.
So what ended up happening was the Navy was bombarding that beachhead.
Uh-huh.
However, it was foggy and they overshot. So all the shit landed behind the beachhead, if I'm not mistaken. So they were thinking that because remember, this is in the 40s, you know what I'm saying? So they thought, hey, we leveled it out, and that invasion got delayed several times because of fog. And so the paratroopers dropped in the night before behind it so they can come meet in the middle. That beachhead wasn't supposed to be there, or very few of them. So when they showed up, to their surprise, they weren't. And, you know, however, I will show that does prove, though. I mean, I'm sorry that all those men lost their lives on that day, but persistence will overcome resistance 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you can apply that to life. You just keep going, doing something over and over and over. Eventually, you'll get through.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, very, very.
Yeah, you don't get over it, you get through it.
Yeah. So crazy movie. Crazy movie.
Yeah, it was for the record, it was a good movie. Like I sat there and I watched the whole way through, which was pretty rare. Like I didn't pause it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just watched the whole entire thing. And then when fucking Matt Damon came, I was like, hell yeah! Like Matt Damon's in this shit too.
I was kind of upset too, though. But then I when the first couple times I watched, like, dude, like they came all this way, they lost a few guys along the way to get your ass, and you're like, no, I'm staying with my guys. But
yeah. What did you think about the scene where the dude, he was like, man, fuck this, and he wanted to leave, and then the other dude steps up, and he wants to shoot him in the face for not continuing with the mission. He was like, I'm done with this shit. And then Tom Hanks is just in the corner, and he asks the question. He's like, what's the pull up to now?
yeah.
300?
You already know that. I mean, granted, this comes from no military background, so maybe I have no room speaking on this matter, but
I was just wondering what your opinion was.
but I'm gonna get to that. Your people are still going to continue the mission.
Might as well help him out.
So you're going to be the guy that's one less set of eyes, one less brain, one less gun, and you're going to walk away because, like, yeah, I get it. You're upset that one of your good buddies died, all in the pursuit of saving one guy to send him home. But the mother just lost, what, 3 brothers, 4 brothers, or 4 sons. They're like, you know what, before, we don't even know if this guy's alive, but if he is, we got to get him home, because to lose all of your family line in one war, hell, in the first couple months of the war, or of the U.S. activity in the war, I can understand it, And then when that general read that letter that Abraham Lincoln wrote to that mother during the Civil War, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it, but even if you take that out, you already know your boys are still going to go through with it. You're going to be.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy that just gave up, and
you know what I'm saying. Even if his reasons were justified, it's like, bro, like those are your boys. They went through all that shit with you, and now you're going to ditch them. You know what I'm saying? And he lived.
Yeah, that's like if your homies are just getting jumped at a party, and you're just like, I'm just gonna sit here in the corner.
While you're recording the fight.
Yeah, you'll be that guy.
But anyway, back to the topic.
Yeah, back. I'm gonna add the little rewind.
But yeah, man. I mean, this whole role thing, I think it's a big factor. If you're gonna want a traditional man, you can't be mad if you want a traditional woman in regard.
Yeah, no, see, that's where I think too, like it gets hypocritical again.
And so,
because
go on, sorry.
No, yeah, because women they want the traditional man, but when they get a man who wants a traditional woman, they come across a man like that, they feel like it's wrong. It's
and then no one's saying
it shouldn't be this way and blah blah blah. But it's like you wanted the same thing from him.
Again, so it's one of the things that Rolo mentioned in one, because I think he has a few podcasts with those guys, and they were talking about like, well, like these women are like, well, I make my own money, I don't need a man, I don't need this, I don't need that, and it's just like, he's like, well, typically women that are successful in that regard, they actually have a lot of masculine traits. And you end up becoming the man that you want to marry, and another man isn't going to want to date you because you're too similar to him.
Yeah,
maybe that was a stretch too far, but I don't necessarily disagree with that statement. Because,
most guys want to wear the pants.
Well, no, it's just because like one of the things that Jordan Peterson said on I'm gonna call it a debate. Most of the stuff when he goes onto a channel of some sort, there are people interviewing him, or it's usually a fucking debate.
Yeah,
and he's just like, masculine traits are what usually dictate success in the workplace. And he's like, she's like, well, how come we don't adopt female or feminine traits? He's like, well, they don't predict success. He goes, but if you want to go and start a company where the premise is solely driven off of female, typical traits, you're more than welcome to go start it and see how it works out. But what we know now, and all the data suggests, is masculine traits, less agreeableness, you fighting for more money, that type of stuff does matter in your success in the workplace. So even if a clinical psychologist says, intelligent as him is saying, yeah, masculine traits determine success, or the upper echelons of success. When you have a woman that's really successful, it's likely that she has some of those masculine traits as well. And so for a guy to not want a woman that's like that because you're not feminine enough for me, or we're too similar. I mean, you often always hear opposites attract, that could be another reason.
Yeah. And then something they brought up too as well was that's why nowadays, especially, you're starting to see a lot more feminists because of the way that I hate saying women like that, but like women are the way that they want their men. They want them to be like more feminine, So there's a lot of guys out there who are just really, really soft nowadays because that's what they asked for, and a lot of guys are adhering to that. And then the reason that they were speaking about that on the podcast is because they wanted to like let the dudes be like, beware, like this is what's happening, Yeah,
I mean, bro, I said Rollo wrote this book 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying that was what we're taught growing up. You watch all these movies, love stories, and it's all portrayed in that fashion. He's like, but in reality, that's not how it actually works.
Yeah.
And that's typically not what women want. They don't want a feminine dude. Like they want him to have maybe possess a couple qualities that are feminine,
empathetic,
but like, dude, it's okay to be a man. It's okay to be a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to blend those. Like that's why we're men and that's why there's women. Like
this is why it's very important to just accept people for who they are, and try and see past a lot of that. Because at the end of the day, I think it's true. A lot of opposites attract. Me and my fiance, we're completely opposite, and I'm glad because I couldn't date somebody like me. Like, fuck no. Like 100%, I'd tear my hair out.
And so there's that, man. And I just think that it's, we're different for a reason, man. We're different for a reason.
Well, the balance.
And one thing that, when they talk about, like we used to mention feminists, and how they always, they want it to be as equal as possible. Okay, well, they always talk about like a gender pay gap and stuff like that. Yeah, it exists, but it's not solely based off of sex. It's not just because you're a woman you get paid less. Because I heard this argument the other day, and I don't know why I haven't thought of this myself. Wouldn't it be more economically viable to hire women since they're cheaper? For the same work?
Yeah, that's crazy. But would it be as efficient?
Not the point. If they're saying that they're only getting...
Economically, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, if men and women get paid differently solely based off sex, it would make more sense to hire more women because they're cheaper. So, but no,
that's controversial.
But there's a lot of different factors that play into it.
Yeah.
Like men are typically more likely to move for a job.
Yeah.
Men are typically more likely to work dangerous jobs, work longer hours. They actually sometimes pick jobs that pay
because
more.
of what it entails. Yeah.
And because they, and one of the things that Jordan Peterson always highlights is, again, typically speaking, men are more interested in things, gadgets, tools. Women are more interested in people.
That's why they want a family from the very beginning.
Well, just teachers, mostly women. Nursing or the medical field, mostly women. Daycare, mostly women. And he's like, the only thing that sucks about those is they're not scalable. You know what I'm saying? So like, whereas if your job as a computer engineer, well, I could freaking program 2,000 computers in a day. You can't watch 2,000 people in a day as a person. You know what I'm saying? So
unless you open up like franchises of that.
But it's not just you doing it. There's other people. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you're a computer engineer or whatever the case may be, you're able to scale that. So he's like, that plays a factor. So yes, there's a difference in pay between men and women. But the more important question is not that it exists, but why it exists, because that's a bigger. You mentioned in an earlier podcast, why matters, the reasons matter, and so if we get caught up solely on the fact that men typically make a little bit more money than women, well, that just seems bad on paper, but there's a lot of contributing factors. Also, women, well, they're the ones that can bear children, so they'll be out for maternity leave. There's no money coming in. That also plays a factor. You know, there's a bunch of contributing factors to this, and all that to say, men and women are different. I think that's by design. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason for it. And we're supposed to complement each other. I'm supposed to be what my girlfriend's not, and she's supposed to be what I'm not. And when you find that person that you can have that unity with, that's when your relationship prospers.
Yeah. I just think, I think it should be both ways. I think if a man comes across a woman who's making more than him and he's not okay with that, I think he needs to reevaluate. You know,
or find a different.
I think
person.
I know, but I'm saying, like, if the only reason that you're not with her is because she's making more than you and that bothers you, then fucking reevaluate and look at the situation and be like, look, this is a good thing. We can thrive together and we can actually be more powerful. You know, men shouldn't be intimidated by women making more than them or being a little bit masculine. Like, what's wrong with a woman fixing something herself or putting a shelf up or whatever? Like, why does it always have to be the man doing it? Like,
no, there's nothing wrong with
independence is great.
I would
right?
argue there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, but some guys are intimidated by that and they don't like that.
They got a little dick, that's why.
Yeah, they might have a little wee-wee.
You know, I mean, that could be it. Who knows? When it comes to the money thing, though.
I mean, I know it doesn't bother you, but there's a lot of people out there who... I'm going to argue on the money thing. Okay.
Because typically women want a man that's either equal to or greater than them financially.
Yeah, see, that was another thing that they mentioned too. It's like 9 times out of 10 what that's
I don't know. I don't know the percentage.
Yeah.
But I know it's significantly...
It's up there.
I know it's above 50%.
Yeah.
That women want... They don't want a bum.
Mm-hmm. And
Jordan Peterson talks on this too. He's like, you know, women don't want men. Or he's like, men are typically slow to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and that's why women get so much further than men. Like, if they don't find out themselves and they don't find a woman that's able to get that out of them, they're going to be a failure to launch. No one was going to want a man like that. So yeah, to some guys, I would say it should be a problem to you. You should be at least an equal contributor to your girl.
I mean, if you're already making good money though, and she's making a lot, if she's making more than you still, you know, there shouldn't be a problem. I agree with you. Yes, you should have a motive to want to do better for yourself and make some money, you know, and not depend on somebody to take care of you.
But
no,
again,
I agree on that.
And to me, but it also comes into the fact that if it is a 51 to 49% ratio, and that's just being, you know, modest, which I'm sure the number's a lot higher, that's still enough of a reason for a man to make more money. Because in that regard, the majority of women at 51% still want a guy to do equal to or better than them.
Now, why do you think that is? Well, I think they mentioned it too. I think I just answered my own question. Is because, like, back in the primitive days, that's just how it was. Guys were the hunters, women were the gatherers, you know, and that's just always how it's been.
And so I don't agree with that. And I also say that's kind of like, it's primitive. It's innate in our nature to be that way. You know what I'm saying? So,
but we are living in a different time and age.
Are we?
Yeah, we are. Like, everybody is more capable now. Like, everybody is fully capable of just being independent. I think so. I think there's enough knowledge.
Because there's a lot of statistics that would argue that you need at least dual income to be successful.
No, I know, but I'm saying in order for you to become like an entrepreneur, it's a lot easier nowadays than it used to be. You know what I mean?
I would
there's
say
more access to resources.
I don't think that it's easier, because I still think it takes the same amount of tenacity that it took then till now to be that kind of person. Not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. I will say there's probably more avenues to become an entrepreneur.
Well, then that changes it though, because back when it was more primitive, right? And the men were the hunters and the women were gatherers. They didn't necessarily need them for that. Now it goes both ways. Now you're saying if it's a dual income, that means we both need each other.
Yes, but again, that goes against your argument that anyone can be successful on their own.
I think they can though.
No, anyone can. What I'm saying is, you're saying that it's viable now, that it's easier now, yet you need two incomes to live in a household. So that would directly go against what you're saying. Because if you can go be, you know, stand on your own 2 feet, then you wouldn't need two incomes.
I'm trying to find a way where I can put it where it doesn't come across that way. Because I had a way in my head where I was thinking about it, where I feel like it's because there is more access to information and all that stuff, and access to resources, and it's easier to put yourself out there and become, like an entrepreneur, man or woman. I feel like that changes everything.
I think it still comes down to you being that person that actually has that drive, regardless of the access to information that's out there.
Yeah, I mean that
Either
obviously
you have it or you don't.
that obviously varies per individual. Yeah, because sometimes people, no matter what situation they're in, regardless of that information being accessible, that's not gonna motivate them. So for whatever reason, they're just content being where they are, and they don't want to progress forward. And that's in any commune or any state or any part of the world. You're always gonna have those individuals. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at. There's always gonna be those people on the chart who are going to be down here as far as motivation goes,
Mm-hmm.
And then like the percentage is always going to be a lot more slim when it comes to those who are more highly motivated, because like, even remember Peterson was talking about that, like the women who are willing to work 16 hours a day for 10 years straight. Like, it's not a very high percentage of women that are willing to do that.
It's not a high percentage of men that are willing to do that. He also said that too.
Yeah. So,
But it often comes down to being mostly men. But
yeah.
Look, man, again, all that to say is, like, go out there and do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that if the current standards of women are that, well, I want a guy that's at least equal to or greater than me.
Yeah.
Then that by the way that standard is set, then it's going to make men care about the amount of money that they make.
I don't think either one is wrong, though, because I feel like if you're a woman or a man, I feel like it's definitely not wrong to want someone who's at least making as much as me, not less, Like, I know in a lot of cases it doesn't matter, but there's nothing wrong with wanting that.
See, and they also
because you're setting standards for yourself.
Of course. They also said in that podcast, or multiple times in their podcast, that they, men typically don't care what women make. That's not.
Yeah, that is true. He did mention that.
That is in a box, and I know for me,
he was just like, just make me a sandwich and be loyal to me. Like, that's really like, in a nutshell. You know what I mean?
Essentially, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, like, I know when anytime I was dating in the past, there was never a box for me to check off.
Like, it wasn't a requirement. It
was
everything.
Granted, if you were doing well for yourself, that's great. I'm not gonna. Oh, she's doing equal. I got no. It's just good for you. More power to you. Knock her. I personally don't have I do well for myself. I personally don't care if my significant other makes more than me. I don't care. More power to you. Hell, it betters the both of us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a box for me. Whereas women, they don't want. Well, again, I'm speaking in generalities. I'm not speaking to every woman.
That's where, because I feel like some people will misinterpret that.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize that we're just generalizing here. It's not every woman thinks this way. Not every man thinks this way. Just generally, if you were to take 100 people and poll, this is typically the way that would be answered.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women, that is, are like, hey, I don't want a guy that's not doing well. I don't want a guy that's not taking care of himself. I don't, I can. Okay,
so
that makes
there
sense.
guys or women too that are offended by that? There has to be, right?
I would assume. Yeah.
And that's probably where these stats come from. And what I'm saying is that you need to reevaluate that and look at that and be like, look, there's nothing wrong with wanting somebody who's going to want more for themselves.
Or it could even be that guy that Mark that was mentioning. He even mentioned, even if you're not doing well, as long as you possess the mentality of that of a person that's gonna go do something, then that's better than because like, okay, let's say when I'm not employed, my girlfriend's with me, but then I also lack
everything else.
Not even just the desire to go do something.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with being run of the mill mediocre. Well, to me, do we want that as a partner?
Yeah, see, that's
what I'm saying?
That's where I see the problem. It's just like, okay, I understand where you're at right now. You may not be in the best position, but I see the drive in you, and I see that you want to be better. I feel like, yeah, you should make an exception, and at some point, if you still can't get your shit together, then you should probably reevaluate, your relationship. And yeah, there are those people out there who are in those relationships where their significant other just has no will, motivation to do anything or progress in life. And it's just like, you should probably take a step back, reevaluate, look at that situation and be like, this is not where I need to be. Because at that point, they're pulling you down with them and they're slowing you down. They're just an anchor for you.
Yeah, maybe not an anchor per se, but
I think so, though, because like all your energy is focused on taking care of that person. And they're not like, it's like having a baby, dude. It's like, I got to change the diaper.
I guess like that, maybe, yeah. The way I see it, though, is like,
because you could be focusing on yourself.
well, you should be focusing on yourself. And if you're focusing on yourself well enough, then that means you can spread it out to the people close to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think, how long would you or can you be able to put up with that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that becomes a bigger picture because, like, yeah, like, well, let's just say you're making $200K and your significant other doesn't want to do anything. I mean, clearly you make more than enough money for them not to do anything. But is that what you want? Is that what you're able to tolerate?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that needs to be a talk between you guys.
And I'm not even talking just like financials. Like, hey, like, what if they're just not only they don't work, they don't do anything around the house.
Yeah, like, what if they don't clean up, they don't cook or anything?
You know
like, you come
like,
home. A what? Yeah, a trophy wife. A lot of these women, like, yeah, when they have those looks like that, you know, when they have that they were just born with it, you know, they were just very, very attractive. A lot of them feel like they're entitled to just like have it be okay for them to just sit around the house. And you know what too? Like a lot of guys, they just want the trophy wife. So that's probably where that mentality comes from. Because there are a lot of people out there who I'm sure in the nightlife, like the club life, you come across these women. You know what I mean? They're bragging about it. It's like, yeah, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want, you know, I think for any successful relationship, you need to have someone you can contend with, someone that's gonna make you better. You know?
You should be able to thrive off this person's energy. I think so, and it should work.
And
vice versa.
You know, like, I don't know, like, yeah, just I mean, damn, dude, if you're at you're at work busting ass, and then you come home to a dirty home, I'd be a little upset.
No, who wouldn't?
Now I got to come home clean too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's a yin and yang, man. You know, like if you're cool with your significant other being home, cool. You know,
yeah, to each their own.
No, I have nothing wrong with that. You know, handle your business, but just bring some type of value.
Yeah, and like, why wouldn't you want that for yourself? You know, like, why would you be okay? Like, what kind of person is just okay with the substandard and the minimal and being content with that average, knowing damn well that they're capable of a lot more?
Like, dude, I heard this story. Sorry to cut you off before I forget it. A person that I know, again, how truthful this story is, and by God, I hope it's false.
Yeah.
But this person, it was told to me that this person's wife, I guess this dude has children with a prior relationship, but that dude's current woman charges him to watch his kids from the other relationship while she's simultaneously watching the kids that they had together. She's like, yeah, you're gonna have to pay me. This is like a daycare.
Oh, okay.
Can you believe that? Like, and puts up with it, bro.
Yeah. I mean, line in the sand, bro.
You know, I hope to God that story's false, but
that's true. You heard it.
but like, can you believe that? Like, you're already watching our kids, and you can't, you know, like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I thought that was crazy. I'm like, and to each their own, man. But that's, to me, a very, very suboptimal relationship or situation to find yourself in, man. Like,
and again, what kind of person do you have to be in order to like tolerate that? You know, like what creates that?
I don't know.
Like what creates that tolerance for you to think that that's okay? Like
that's. I don't even have words for that, bro. Like, and I'm always one person that can never shut up, and I don't even have words for that one, bro.
Just thank God it ain't you. You know,
like, damn, man, like
imagine that feeling.
No, like, I couldn't, bro. Yeah. Like, that just makes zero sense to me. You know, you're at our home.
Do we know this? Do I know this person?
No.
No? Okay.
You're at home, in our home.
That I pay for.
Yeah, because the guy's wife doesn't work.
The nerve.
Right? Doesn't work. So she's home watching, you know, their children together, but the kids that she didn't bear charges him to watch. I don't know the rate, but whatever, even if it's a fucking $1.
Is her name Jenny?
That is insane, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
that's fucking crazy.
that's one of those things that you shouldn't be tolerated, man. Of course, like if he's happy, which I'm sure he's not. But if he is, I mean, okay, you found your place. Good for you. But
She must cook really good.
so
Wink.
I'm not gonna go on speculating here, but yeah, I'm just saying, dude, like that's a situation that you should probably try to find an exit strategy for and find someone that's actually gonna care for you and love you the way that you deserve, you know.
All I know is that podcast, I feel like it's for another realm of individual. Like a different type of individual, because it's not a game that I want to fucking participate in.
I think they've said it several times, and I believe it to be true. Their whole purpose in this is to show guys that the value that we say women have, men also have it too, and treat yourself accordingly.
Yeah, but I feel like it does get lost a little bit.
They lose me a lot. Granted, they especially when you said like, oh well, she don't want to go find another girl. Like
again, that's just his way. But I feel like if you have that big of a platform, there's a lot of these idiots that are gonna latch onto that mindset and just be like, all right, cool, yeah, I'll just go talk to other women and it's fine. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Like you're sending the wrong message there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, that's why that guy that was,
and he's an idiot. This is why I was saying the other day. I was like, maybe free speech. I get it. You're gonna disagree with me, but it's like, maybe at the end of the day, we shouldn't be giving
I already disagree with you.
We shouldn't be giving a bullhorn to people like this fucking idiot.
No,
you know?
Dude, look, I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna try it. It works. It doesn't. You'll figure it out on your own, bro. But the moment
you sad because the psychology of it's going to work on some women. You know.
Well, then it works. Then who's harmed?
I guess no one. That wraps up the PO3. I don't know, bro.
I just again, you'll never get me to agree with you saying someone can't say something like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like that's just one area that I'm not gonna.
No, I agree. You should just be able to say what you want, but I just didn't agree with what he was saying. I think that's the wrong way to go about it.
Again, I agree. Like I said, he does lose me. Yeah. Or both of them, lose me.
I can't stand that fucking dude. The other one.
Yeah, he does. He says a lot without saying a lot.
Yeah, he says a whole lot, and then at the end of the sentence, he didn't say shit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but again, their purpose of that thing is like, hey guys, look, like, again, the value that we're taught that women have, men also have it too. Yeah. So don't settle. Don't put yourself into situations where, like, yeah, you're kind of happy, but it's not as best as it could be for you.
Mm-hmm.
And because they do have some somber moments where it's just not like, oh, on to the next one. That's kind of their MO.
Yeah.
But they do have the most to do. We're just trying to help guys, because we're taught one thing growing up and it's not that way, and it doesn't have to be that way. You have value too, and don't sell yourself short. So
I agree.
So
I agree. Don't settle if that's truly what you don't want.
And it's just hard.
It's gonna lead to regret.
So we've all had our ups and downs.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I think their podcast is interesting because these guys,
it's definitely provocative.
And it's actually funny as shit when they sit there and just clown these chicks. Like, they have no remorse, bro, whatsoever.
That's why it's funny though. I mean, it's definitely provocative. I'm definitely gonna listen to it in more, and we're gonna have to continue on some more of these fucking topics.
Yeah, I have a lot of stored away for this one. So.
Yeah, did you? Okay, yeah, we didn't even get into half of this shit.
So
I knew I was just gonna be like, watch, we're gonna touch on one or two of these topics, and then we're not gonna get much past it because we always have a tendency to veer off and then talk about pussy, riverboat gambling trips. Hey, you want to lead us out with the
rusty trombones?
Oh, I forgot another name for you. The Crescent City Cannibal. Oh. That was from my cousin.
Okay, shout out to his cousin.
Yeah. T-Virus.
That's it then, huh?
That's it, bro. We're already at hour 20.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Time flew.
That was that we were like basically debating that whole time. Well, not debating, but like, master debating. Anyway.
All right.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the PO3 Podcast.
You're sitting here with Spilvin Steesberg and all this.
and the Sonic King.
If you want to keep it short to the point.
Thanks again, guys. We want to give you guys thanks for giving us a lot of interaction on the last video. We're at 120 likes. So.
Subscriptions?
Oh yeah, we went up again on that again. I'm not gonna say what we're at. But,
We're doing pretty good, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, 120
Hey,
likes.
if you guys are the ones that do happen to check by or stop by and check us out for a few minutes, actually just hit a like or subscribe. It does help us out in the end. And it doesn't take a whole lot of effort and time to do that for us.
And if
Appreciate
you don't like us, then get the fuck out of here and go somewhere else. I can give a fuck. I care. Please do subscribe.
I care. Shout out to
Hey, yeah.
Umo over here real quick.
Thank you for Smoke for coming through. We appreciate you. You were what?
I was high as fuck.
He was high and drunk the whole time, just how I like it.
That's how I've known him.
Mm-hmm. If he wasn't high and drunk, he wouldn't be Smoke.
All right, guys.
All right, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the PO3 Podcast. My name is Marcus Marx, a.k.a. Spilvin Steesburg, a.k.a. the Sonic King.
The Yeti.
The Yeti, y'all. Catch you guys on the next one.